Danger! Danger right there! Danger!
Hi guys, so I'm going to take you through a front headlock series. It's, I think, one of the most versatile moves in wrestling. You can use it as an offense, as a defense, in many effective ways, right? So I'm just going to show you one series. We're going to get them all the way to the ground. You can do this from when they're standing as well, but we're going to just assume that we're going to get really good at snapping them all the way down to where they're either on their knees or even one knee, and eventually go all the way flat, right? So, but first, before we do any front headlocks, we have to get really good at this snap down, right? So a wrestler is going to be in a good wrestling stance, and the thing I have to do is get him out of position. It's going to be really hard to do that with just my arms, right? Cody's actually decently strong. Most wrestlers will be. And it's going to be hard to even pull someone with just my biceps, just my arms, even clear it out of the way, right? So I have to be in a stance too. And usually when I grab their head, that's usually what I'm looking for. I'm head hunting. I grab with the opposite lead leg, right? So it's so that I don't reach with the same leg, right? So that he can grab my leg. So I usually reach, have point of contact with the non-lead leg, right? The other hand is protecting. I reach and I'm holding really tight here. And now when I snap, right, I want to make sure I'm having control of like a bicep here on the opposite side, right? So I'm here on the opposite side, I have control here, and I have control here. So I'll show that maybe on this side. So even I'll start here, I club, I catch, and now I have them. But now when I snap, again, it's not just with my arms, right? I got to snap with my entire body. I have to come down, squat, and pull my legs back, right? And I'm going to land on top of them here. So I'm going to snap them all the way down hard. I push, he pushes back. That momentum's coming back. I snap. And now look, I caught. My shoulder went down, landed on top of the middle of this back here, this little crevice made specifically for my shoulder here. Right, now that I'm here, I catch chin, catch armpit, nice and shallow. Don't want to be too deep so that I can grab my elbow and circle away. So I get here, and right, I'm on top, and it's really shallow. Chin up, just right here. This is all we're gonna get. So all the way through, once again, it's a snap, and I catch. So again, I'm assuming I'm snapping them all the way down to the ground. So it's gotta be a really good snap. I gotta push him in so he pushes back. So I push, he pushes back, right? See that? A lot of force is coming this way. I'm gonna take him where he wants to go. Replace his base with my foot here. Right here, and now that I'm leaning on him, now I can catch. Right here. So snap, catch, right? And if you can, even better, this is okay. I want to re-snap, so I want to get him flat. This is okay to now go behind, but even better is if I now have to re-pull, re-snap, and get him all the way flat. So I snap, and now he's flat. See, now it's so easy to go behind. So now that we've got that snap down, all figured out, we're going to go now into our go behind series.
A snap down is a great way to open up your opponent, but also just to get to your front headlock position in general. The best way to do this is to push into them so that they push back into you. The reason for this is when you snap them down, all the momentum that they are giving you will allow your pull to be that much stronger. So really make sure you push and get them to push back.
Okay guys, so now we went over that snap down. We're really good at it now. We're able to pull them all the way to the ground, face on the mat, and get them all the way flat. Right, so now we're just gonna do a regular, just standard go behind. There's a couple things you need to know, but of course, first we gotta get that snaps down. So again, I go with non-lead leg. I have a control on one side and on the head. And now I'm gonna snap with my entire body, catch his chin here and his armpit or pit of his, armpit or elbow, whatever I can kind of hold. And now, easiest thing to go behind, whether he's on his knees or if I re-snap him and sit flat, is I want to try to get an ankle or a bottom anchor here. So I do not want to reach for this hip. So Cody's going to actually show you why. So I'm going to reach here. Cody can actually grab my elbow here and flip me over. And I'd be really in trouble here. So I'll show you that again, but maybe on this side. I snap. If I reach around the hip, right, I'm trying to go behind him. I'm in a pretty good position to move, but if I reach around the hip, he can, look, grab my elbow here, take me behind, or even roll all the way through, right? So I get on this side, I go here, I reach, he wraps around with this arm, he can even roll me through and hold me here, or he can flip me the other way like he just did, right? So I don't want to grab around the hip for that reason, but also he's a lot faster and able to circle away from me when I try to grab him there, right? So when I have here and I'm trying to go, you can circle away from me, right? You can run away from me all day, right? So I don't want to grab the hip, as tempting as that might be, right? What I want to grab is actually this ankle or down here or even his butt, right? Anywhere kind of lower below the hip. I need to control that lower half. So I have an upper half. Now watch what happens if Cody tries to circle once I get that ankle. So I'm going to really dive, reach that ankle. I have that ankle. He's going to try to circle. He really can't. I have his leg trapped. So now from here, there's a couple things I can do. I can either lock my hands for a cradle, put my head in the side and drive, or just run him over. So I'll just run him over first. Run, run, run. Stay on top, reverse half. That's one. Number two, again, whatever. I get the snap. I get everything perfect. I get the ankle, and now he can't go anywhere. I can lock my hands. So what you're going to see here is I'm going to bring his head towards his shoulder and try to lock them together. So it's harder to bring the leg, easier to bring the head. So I'm going to bring the head here, lock my hands. And now that I'm locked, I don't want to push with my chest. I want to push with my head. So I push, get him here, and I can finish on top or do a lot of different finishes there. There's a lot of things you can do. Scoop the leg, but I won't go over that in this series. But main thing, guys, snap them all the way down, capture that ankle, or get them flat and easily spin behind. And try to not grab the waist, right? You get in trouble there.
An important thing to note about this series, it is called front headlock from the knees, but you actually don't ever want to be on two knees at the same time in a wrestling match. You want to at least be on one foot, preferably on both feet, so you have room to drive, and you have a lot more power to run someone over, and you're way faster than when you're on your knees. So make sure that when you're doing this front headlock work, you are on your feet when you're driving.
All right, guys, so we went over a little bit on the front headlock go behind. So really basic, just trying to go for that ankle, right? Not grabbing the hip. So I hope you were practicing that, or at least you're going to after watching this video. So next, we're going to go into kind of when they give you a hard time just getting behind. We're going to actually kind of fake out your opponent and switch sides. Or even shuck them all the way by. So we're going to do switching sides and then a shuck-by all in one. So two different kind of variations you can do when you need to get behind them, and you know they're really good at staying in front of you, and you're having a hard time getting behind, right? So again, I have to snap them down. So when I push, they push back, and I snap with my whole body. Again, this whole series is assuming our snap is perfect. He's all the way down, boom, he's here. But now I'm trying to go behind, right? He posted up. Maybe I can't re-snap him all the way. I've tried that and they're really based. So I tried going behind and maybe I'm having a hard time reaching that ankle, right? So what I can do is actually switch sides, right? So now I have my right hand on the chin, left hand kind of on the armpit here. It's really easy to switch from here. I'm just going to switch shoulders and switch hand placements on the opposite side here, right? But I have to do that while I'm moving that way, right? I'm going this way and then I'm going to switch sides while he's moving, to then make me look a lot faster, but also just change the direction on Cody so I can then now grab the other leg that will present itself, the opposite side. So I'm going to try to go behind. Cody's going to be spinning, right? And switch. And see that? I switched, but I stayed on top, right? I didn't switch way out here. I stayed shoulder, other shoulder now on top. And see, this leg is closer now. I can grab the knee pit or the ankle, whatever I can reach while having the chin. And now I have that whole series. The cradle and knock them over, or just run them over. Or if you want, even easy, you can just step around the leg and get behind it, right? So one more time, just for the switching sides, right? Again, I have to snap him. I try to go behind, but he's really fast. And then I switch, right? Keeping that head down, get that ankle. You can either spin behind or drive him or cradle him, right? So switching hands, switching feet. I will just show this the switch without the fastness of it. So again, maybe on this side. So again, I'm trying to go behind, right? But when I switch, its shoulder is just going to glide over, right? So when I switch, it's here, it's here, right? Switching, moving my feet. And you can do this a bunch of times, right? If I go here, he spins. If I go here, he spins. And I can go here again, right? So there's a lot of potential here for you to switch sides. Okay, one more option for you guys. Now we're going to say when they grab your elbow really deep and you're trying to go behind, right? So I got Cody all the way down, say I snapped, but this time he grabs my elbow, see it's really deep now. This isn't what I want, right? Maybe I'm still trying to grab that ankle. I'm trying to spin, grab that ankle, but now I'm gonna shuck him by, take him where he wants to go. So I'm gonna use this hand that's being grabbed and kind of treat it like a bowling ball, I guess. Cody's like a bowling ball here. I'm gonna windmill my arm really hard and open up my hips so that he goes that way. And then I'm gonna spin the opposite way to get behind him, right? So I'm gonna go here, right? So all the way through. I'm trying to get behind, but he grabs my elbow really deep. I'm trying to get it, right? You gotta shuck it hard. So you're really trying to, like, basically bowl it, exaggerate it, right? You don't have to do like a small throw. Big, open hips throw, and try to get behind. So again, I'm gonna try to go for it real hard because I want Cody to be spinning. Right, so I'm going, shuck. And notice I went forward. So I shucked and went forward as I shucked, right? So two options that you had, that was the switching sides. And then there's like, they grab their elbow, you're trying to get that side, and then you shuck them and spin the opposite way, right? Just trying to maybe confuse your opponent a little bit and psych them out, kind of juke them out to get behind them.
For this move to be effective, you have to make sure that you're on your feet and moving very quickly. You want to get your opponent to really think that you're going for that leg, that initial leg that you're going for. It will get them to really try and turn and face you, and that's when you switch sides, switch shoulders, so that you juke them out to go on the opposite side. A good wrestler is taught to take elbow control when you're trying to take a front headlock. So this wouldn't be my first choice for front headlock offense, but it's a great option when your opponent is doing what they're supposed to and really trying to control that elbow. What you're then going to do is really exaggerate the throws. You got to throw this and commit hard for this to really work.
All right, guys, so let's show you another option. We had kind of like switching sides and shucking by when they're giving you a hard time going behind. Now we're going to do one where you're kind of stuck in front here, so you're not really able to maybe shuffle each way when you're in that front headlock position. So I'll show you two options you can do. We have first our knee tap, and then next we have our cow catcher. Yeah. Crap. I'm gonna start that over. Starting over. Okay. Hi guys. All right, so I went over kind of going behind the guy when you're having a hard time. You're able to just kind of switch sides on them. So we have switch sides, and then that kind of shuck-by or throw-by for a headlock. Now I'm going to show you when you get stuck in the middle there and you're having a hard time even shuffling. So we're first going to give you just two options here. We have our knee tap option first, and then we have our cow catcher option next, which that's going to be like an underhook position, but from the knees. So again, all of these from the knees, front headlock. Again, I'm assuming I have that perfect push back and I snapped real hard and got him all the way down, even to here, right? So now I'm having a hard time maybe even shuffling. So there's a couple things I can do. First one is the knee tap. So this one actually works better, again, when he's pulling on my elbow really tight, because now I'm going to use that to reach past the knee, and I'm inverting my wrist the other way here. So I'm not just tapping it with the backhand. I'm turning it and I'm pushing my shoulder forward to try to tip his body over, right? So I'm keeping this tight because a good wrestler, they're typically going to grab your elbow, or you're going to at least try to stick your shoulder underneath so that he does grab your elbow, right? See, if you can't see this, my shoulder, it was here where it's supposed to be, but then I dip it here or Cody pulled it there. So I either dip here or Cody pulled it there, and I'm keeping his head tight, but now I'm going to reach deep, reach that shoulder, and I'm going to turn my wrist this way to now tabletop his leg over. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go forward and drive. Forward drive. If you do that hard enough, you can get him to their back and finish here. So one last time, just getting him to the back. This is if you initiate it really well. You get it all the way down. You get here, you get the shoulder deep, and now I'm able to pull this tight, tap, and go forward and get them to their back. But sometimes you run into some issues. You try to knee tap, and a good wrestler or someone with good balance, maybe really athletic, Cody's just going to flatten out. So I'm going to try to knee tap him, but he doesn't go to his back. So I knee tap, he goes here. He's only going to be here maybe for like half a second to maybe 1 second, right? Depending on a couple of factors, right? Athleticism, willpower, whatever you want to think of, right? But when he's flat here, this is the easiest thing to do. I'm just going to go behind, spin behind, right? but I only get an instant to do that. So I'll show that really quick. I snap down, I get him here. My knee tap, he goes flat right away. I spin behind, right? So that's our first option. Knee tap to either put them to their back, or knee tap, they flatten out, go behind. Next one, we have our cow catcher. So this one, you actually catch a underhook on one side. So again, I snap him, I got him all the way down. Now I have to use the non-chin hand. So this is my chin hand that has the chin here. The other hand that would be here is gonna actually go underhook, right? It's really hard to do this with just my bicep. Cody's, again, pretty strong. He can kind of, anchor down there on his shoulder. So the way I have to do this is I have to actually lower my elevation even more to get my shoulder underneath his. So when I punch this, I'm gonna punch and punch my shoulder underneath at the same time. So I punch here, but then I'm gonna punch, shoulder. See how my shoulder is now underneath his? Now I can go at a 45 here. So I'm not going directly this way. He's still pretty strong here. And we don't want to like cause the injuries here. We just want to flip him to his back. So I'm going to go towards kind of his butt here at a 45. I'm keeping the head still, right? I don't want to let go of this. So I keep the head and see it's already naturally turning his spine. So now I'm just going to, on my toes, run at that 45, keep the head, stay on top. So one more time, all the way through. Again, I have to punch and punch that shoulder kind of underneath, kind of similar to our single leg when we elevated that another level up, right? So I get here, and now when I punch, I have to shoulder punch under here. So I go here, punch, run, here. You can stand to your feet while you do that, or at least be on one foot. All right, so two options, that knee tap and that cow catcher there from the underhook.
Much like the Shuck-By, this isn't necessarily a primary move. It can be, but it works very well when your opponent is doing what they're supposed to. That is, controlling that elbow, and then you're going to use that pull to then tap the knee, but you're not just tapping it, you're actually driving forward so that they topple over, driving hard into them. This move is super effective once you have it through, but you have to make sure that you execute it properly, so make sure you have really good control of the chin and that their head stays down. Once you have that angle, it's really easy then to stand to your feet and then run them to their back. But you really have to jolt that arm up by popping to get underneath.
All right, guys, so this is our last thing we're gonna go over from the knees. There's a lot of things you can do from front headlock, as you can see, right? And again, this can come from, you snapping them down. I'm showing you offensively this whole series. I'm pulling their head all the way to the ground, but this can happen even if they take a shot on you and you sprawl on them, right? So however you get in the front headlock, all of these moves will still work this way, right? But this last one, a very common one in freestyle to get your 2 points when they're on the knees, is a gator roll or cement mixer. I've heard it kind of called those two names, right? So when I get him here, I snap Cody again, all the way down. I snap him all the way down, and now all those go behind stuff maybe is not really working for me, or I want to score a quick 2 points. Easiest thing is I'm going to lock my hands. I have to have a head and an arm in this case, right? I can't just lock around his head. That's illegal, but also even better to have his arm for control purposes. So I'm gonna actually lock my hands in that like gable grip. So just like before, hand over hand and clasp right there. So I'm gonna bring his head and his arm kind of close together, really tight. I lock, and I can turn his arm this way. I'm getting it off the ground, right? I don't want to just keep it here and just squeeze. I want to actually turn it and lift it off the ground. So I'm going to turn my grip up here, right? And I can stay on my feet, or I can be on a knee. I prefer to be on my feet, right? And now I'm going to roll towards the side that's opposite of the chin hand, right? So this arm hand here. So I bring it off the ground. Again, it's elevated. He's already ready to turn. I'm going to dip my head deep so it blocks, and I have to roll and drive with my feet, kind of like a gut wrench. So I go here, run, 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 run. And I can either keep him here, or we go all the way back to our same position, right? So starting ready to be back over here. I get him all the way down, and now I have to lock my hands. I have this cinch that's trapped, right? His head is trapped, his arm is trapped, and I elevate it off the ground. Now I'm going to roll, head dips, and again, I have to run with my feet. I'm not just falling. I'm rolling, run, run, run. And see, he can even go back to his front headlock position again, and then go again, right? And you can hold him here, or you can keep rolling and keep getting 2 points, right? So again, when you do this, guys, without a partner even, You have to run your feet. You can't do this by just falling and then having your feet in the air. Right? You have to go drive your feet, just like a gut wrench. You have them here, you're driving with your feet to get them all the way through. Right? So, gator roll, cement mixer, get them tight, roll your head towards that side, and drive with your feet.
This move works very well when you have hardly any space between the head and the arm and your grip is very tight. If it's too loose, you will not be able to roll your partner with you. Also, you can't just fall down using your body weight. You need to really propel using your feet to drive into the ground so that it allows you to roll them through.
Thank you very much for watching. This is Coach Cruz Velasquez
and Cody Osborn.